Hello everyone, I'm Vasilgris, and welcome to the basic guide to Cryomancer, my second best master skin. Cryomancer is an interesting character. He has some matchups that he can win. He has some matchups that are more even. He actually kind of... I guess he loses more matchups against Voidcrawler than he wins, because the Voidcrawler can knock him off the edge more times than not. Like, he has some more even matchups, and then he has the matchups that he just loses because of knockback. I mean, you can beat a shoop if you can, like, properly avoid his attacks and slow down his ult charge, but usually that's not possible because of just how fast he can spit out lightning. But Cryomancer has a really fun kit to, like, learn how to use. You really have to take advantage of this ability called Freezing Breath. Which, I mean, Freezing Breath is basically the ability Cryomancer revolves around. Let's take a look at his abilities. Your melee attack does 4 damage. Right click to shoot a frostbolt. This is a slow-moving ranged attack that deals 7 damage. Freezing Breath is a AoE, area of effect type attack that deals 9 damage and kind of like goes a few blocks out and kind of goes in a cone shape. Yeah, you can kind of see from the particle effects. So his passive is Arctic Aura. Now my ability does 8 damage. And 11 damage. So it's a decent damage increase, but it rarely ever actually takes effect, because usually as Cryomancer you're going to be kind of trying to snipe them from a distance, and whenever they try and get close you're going to use your Freezing Breath. But, I mean, it can be useful. Your ultimate ability is Ice Barrier. This gives you 50% damage reduction, knockback resistance, and halves the cooldowns of all your abilities. Now, something you can do with this is use Freezing Breath right before the ultimate runs off, and even when the ultimate is done, you're still going to have that decreased cooldown on Freezing Breath. So you can basically get a free Freezing Breath, even though the cooldown technically should have gone slower. So, as Cryomancer, there's a few things you want to keep track of. You don't want to double jump too much, except in a 1v1 against General Cluck. You don't want to double jump too much against a General Cluck in solos or teams, because they're likely going to have a teammate that can actually punish you for double jumping. But against, like, any other matchup, you really want to stay on the ground, because then it's the hardest for enemies to edgeguard you with your zero mobility. Another thing, you really want to use Freezing Breath effectively. So, like, when you're approaching a ranged character, that's a good time to use Freezing Breath, to slow them down and get a Freezing Breath hit on them, and have noob-seeking missiles hit them. And against melee heroes, it's about the opposite. When they try to approach you, let's pretend he's a melee hero, for example, for a second, anyway. No, he's actually smart. Not about to die. Like, say, a melee hero is trying to approach you. You kind of back up, try to bait them into it, and then Freezing Breath them. And it's a good way to kind of ruin their approach and have you win the trade. And then you just really need to work on frostbolting. Oh my gosh, I'm taking a beating here. Because while you can be effective if you know how to use Freezing Breath right, Frostbolt is a really important ability to know how to aim. And unfortunately, whenever I try to talk about Frostbolt aim, it just completely collapses for me. So, it's really something you have to learn on your own. You have to learn how to predict the movement of your enemies, and you have to learn the speed of the Frostbolt. And then, like when you're juggling someone, you really want to have them land in your Freezing Breath. It's just really effective. Now against melee heroes, you don't want to be too defensive, because otherwise you're going to get pushed to the edge of the map and easily knocked off with like a dash or a lightning, and then get edge guarded. So you really kind of want to stay in the middle of the map, against all matches really as Cryomancer, but you also want to be somewhat defensive against melee heroes. Like, I'm going to try and stay away from this Marauder. But I'm not, like, just constantly backing up. Like, I'm going to try and take advantage of his mistakes, but at the same time, not let him just walk in and do a ton of damage to me. I'm gonna use my Freezing Breath to punish his approaches. And miss on that Frost Breath flick.
You are nothing compared to the power.
So I mean, when the Marauder ult happens, you just wanna hide. Just do not make eye contact. Unless you have your ult, in which case do this. Your ultimate is basically a giant no-you to almost every single ultimate in the game. You can use it especially effectively against a shoop, who will take a bunch of damage from your half cooldowns, and also have his ult completely deleted because of your knockback resistance. Marauder will, with his 25% damage reduction, won't be able to outdamage you with his ultimate. And Karakot, that's more or less even. It's really dependent on who can hit more shots. I mean, you really want to play around with... you really want to play around with Cryomancer. Just learn his abilities, learn the playstyle that you like, because it's just a really fun character to learn how to play. Like, I can't tell you this is how you play Cryomancer, because there are different ways to play him. I prefer a more passive approach to every single matchup. Even ranged characters I try to take a bit passively. I don't want to be too aggressive against them. But, I mean, maybe you want to be aggressive. It's definitely possible to be aggressive against ranged characters. And, like, if you're really, really aggro, you can out DPS quite a few melee characters. I wouldn't recommend, like, going up against a Cake Marauder or Void Crawler really aggro, though. But I mean, just have fun with the character. He's overall a simple class to understand, and really you just need to perfect how you use it, and just kind of have fun. Cryomancer's fun. That's why I like him. He's not overpowered, he's not underpowered anymore. He's fun. And that's what I like about him. So, the tips I can give for him that you should definitely always follow, regardless of the playstyle you choose: don't be too jumpy. It's just not worth it to be jumping around, and then some random botnon from across the map presses right click for the first time in like 2 minutes of the game and just edge guards you automatically. Just learn how to aim Frostbolt. Like, just practice it. Go into 1v1s against someone, go into slow, or have someone carry you in teams, and just work on hitting hard Frostbolts. Wait till they go in the air and try to hit those shots. And then use Freezing Breath to really, like, stun ranged characters when you approach them is the best way to explain it. Like, mess up their escape by slowing them down with Freezing Breath before they can run away is the best way to explain it. And when melee characters try to approach you, press 2 and it will just mess up their approach, and you can outdamage them at that point if you don't walk into their abilities. Use your ultimate as just a big no you. Like, Void Crawler ultimate, no you. Shoop ultimate, no you. It's better than all the stat multiplier ultimates because of its knockback resistance. So really take advantage of that. Be really, really aggressive during this ultimate. I mean, obviously there are some exceptions that you learn quite quickly. But, like, just use it as a no you, and shut up, mystery boxes. That's the best way to explain Cryo Ultimate, as no you. What you are looking at now is why I have been inactive on Smash Heroes and on YouTube. And this. And this. And this. Thing. Oh my god, it's satisfying.